Hey there, thought you could use a little R&R. This is a review of episode 3 of onimusha, Nightmare. So, straight off the bat, I want to say that this is the episode that has hooked me. I struggled to come and make this review rather than just watching the rest. To the point where I think from here on out, I'll just start to review the episode as in like pairs. I really just want to watch the rest at this point. But let me get into why that is. So this episode is more based around them climbing the mountain and the things that they encounter along the way. The fights were more or less the same quality, choreographed very well, looked flashy, looked great, wonderful. I noticed that with this episode, the music, obviously average, but what more so shines is the ambience. So the use of the sounds of nature around them, which contributes towards the atmosphere and it really conveys the very sort of vibe of the moment, which really kind of immerses you in, gets your head inside the story. I think they handle that a lot better than the way that they handle music, which is fine still, but again, nothing mind-blowing. Another thing they do amazingly in this episode is they really begin to actually build upon the characters and, develop them, and you kind of learn more about them. You become more attached, or at least I have any characters which maybe I didn't like so much. I very much do now. I can't really say there's any characters I dislike, though Sayo does. I wouldn't say I dislike her, but she would probably be my least favorite. They're sort of a fine blend between damsel and sort of your Mary Sue, which is good at everything. Which I think a good mix is, good, but I think it needs to be conveyed right, and I'm not sure if it was here. Rather than blending them, it seems as though she's kind of flip-flopping between I'm the vulnerable child, little girl, and I'm the Mary Sue, tough gal. I'm not saying they should have gone one way or the other, but I think maybe they could have blended the both better. Again, by no means do I dislike the character. She is cool. She's quite funny as well. And there is that sense of vulnerability, and so all the things for a good character is there. I'm still engaged with her, and I am excited to sort of see where they take the character. I definitely think it could get better from here. It could also get a lot worse. So there was character development, the good use of ambience, and I won't get too much into it, but there is some shock value. And I think all of those aspects really makes this episode pop. The pacing of the overall story is probably maybe even slightly better. There's a new sense of mystery. There are old questions that were answered. So overall, great episode. Once again, before I get into the spoilers, I will give my rating. Usually, I guess I talk for longer, but there's, with the other episodes, I've already kind of said it all. So I mainly just wanted to address what was new with this episode. So as an unbiased viewer, I am going to bump it up another 0.5. So I would say, yeah, this is an 8 in terms of overall quality, as maybe a stranger coming into the onimusha series. And for me being a biased viewer, I was thinking I was going to give it a 9, but there are still one or two new problems just with the continuity as a whole. It doesn't make it worse, but I don't think it really makes it better either. So as a biased viewer, I will give it an 8.5 once again. You know what, we'll meet at halfway. I'll say 8.7. I don't quite think it's earned that 9 in my biased brain just yet. But the fact of the matter is, it has hooked me, and I want to watch the rest of these episodes as soon as possible. So now we go on to spoilers. So be warned, there are spoilers ahead. So here we go. So we start off with this strange sequence in the beginning of them just killing some random guy. There's these people, brothers, I guess. Naruto bullshit going on here. Who are these people? They've got the weird metal headbands, and it's just very strange. I guess these are the main villains, or maybe they serve the main villain, and so they're the sort of the elite henchmen. Whilst we're on the subject of them, of course, when we get to the end, we look to them after they have captured Sayo, and they talk about having a history with Musashi. That's kind of got my hopes up. I'm thinking maybe one of them is like Kajuro or something, because they say that they've had history with him, and apparently he's, what was the term they used? He's wronged them in the past, apparently. So they want to, as I guess Genma now, because their voices are distorted, they want to be able to get back at him. I'm super excited to see where that leads, see Musashi maybe fighting them with the gauntlet and everything. But anyway, as we see our main cast, they are, of course, climbing up the mountain, and they're all very tired and everything, especially Musashi is actually showing his age. And that I really liked about his part of the character development, because it shows that, yeah, he was there in the Battle of Sekigahara. There's a good, 20, 30 years there? I mean, fuck, maybe even more. It's great to be able to see that context, to see his age, and to see it actually affecting him in this adventure. It's great to see, of course, with all of them, their individual reactions to the climb. And of course, those which are used to the mountain climbing are fine with it, like Sayo or what's his name, the monk. Given that he dies later, and we'll get to that, Goromaru, I wouldn't say I didn't like him, but, he was maybe slightly annoying, but now, he seemed a bit more endearing, and I can see why, because they were setting up for the death, for the shock value. Look, I have nothing against shock value. I think it's a very good tool to use to engage with a story, and I think they handled the death really well. It happened suddenly, as, realistically a death really should. And as far as life goes, we don't get to always finish our character arcs. So it was nice seeing Goromaru's moment with Sayo when he was explaining about the two falcons, and how he grew up with them, and of course how he's, been a brother-like figure to Lemon. And I guess I will talk about the death whilst we're on the subject. That certainly hit me in the feels, because, even though he doesn't actually get to finish the sentence, you know what he was going to say. He had finally decided to kill someone that he believed to be a brother, because I guess he felt he owed him that respect. And, he kind of came to that conclusion right before his death. Whether you count that as coming to the end of his character arc or not, I don't know. But I liked the way it was done. Of course, the death of his falcon was pretty sad as well, and that was the last thing he saw, and that got me in the feels. The character development truly shined in this episode. But anyway, one of the main fights we see is the appearance of the Oda warriors, or the zombies as we knew them. I guess the Netflix's interpretation of the orange-hatted zombie warriors that we knew throughout the Onimusha series. Genma in its most basic form. It doesn't really seem to give much justification as to why they have the, I guess, albino kind of skin. Or lack of skin. But, they were meant to be sort of like these weird sort of orangey brown kind of skeletons, and now they've turned white for some reason. But also, I mean, we see more action with the falcons, and it appears that they're just meant to be normal falcons, which makes even less sense of how they're able to tear limbs off. Is there something I don't know about falcons? It's a pet peeve, but I guess it's one I'm going to have to overlook. Masashi also mentions before the fight that the gauntlet takes its toll on him. I don't remember that ever being a thing in the game series. I mean, like, maybe at a stretch after you go into your Oni form, but other than that, no, just them having the gauntlet didn't really seem to ever do anything like that. I mean, I'm half expecting them to explain that this is just like a different gauntlet. Maybe it was made in a different way. Maybe I'm just reading too far into it and they've just changed things because. The fight was still good regardless. It was still enjoyable. I just had those pet peeves. The last problem I do have is when they took Sayo. Is it just me, or did it seem like they just kind of watched those Naruto people just grab Sayo and leave? Like, fair enough, it would have been suicide to chase them, but they didn't do anything whilst they were grabbing her. They just kind of watched them do it. I guess they were in shock because of Goromaru's death, excuse me. Outside of that, that is my full thoughts. Outside of those nitpicks, there's really not many major ways that you can fault this wonderful, wonderful episode. I'm gonna go watch at least 2 more before I do another review, and I'll do that as like a pair kind of review, maybe even more. We'll see what we do. We'll see how we go. I'm just kind of doing this because I want to, and if obviously it stops being fun, then I'm not gonna do that. But I would also like to finish what I started, so we're going to do that. My rating remains the same. A banger of an episode. I literally cannot wait until the next one. I'll see you for episode 4 and 5, and I'll see you for the next episodes. Hope you've enjoyed having a little R&R, and I'll see you in the next one. Matane.